I mean, with both particular description, I think at times there's not necessarily a preference, but what is understood. So, for example, like neurodiverse is that allows people to focus on what the actual challenge is and what that lived experience is of that individual.
Yeah.
So we know that it's around their abilities to function in terms of how their brain functions, whereas special educational needs and disabilities refers to a particular individual having a disability. So within the disability community, disabilities come in all forms: physical, hidden disability is another word that another phrase that can be used for diverse, neurodiverse. So neurodiverse is more specific. However, special educational needs, I would describe as a parent, is a term that you adopt. So
it's like a system term, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like one that applies to being in the institution.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how it's recognised. Because if you say special educational needs, then everyone knows what's that, what that is about, what is expected, what does it mean, what is required. So it's like from the moment, so myself as a parent that's raised a young person that has neurodiversity and other conditions, when those conditions are identified, it's like you fall into a system, and then from there you get those terms and you're known as specifically perhaps someone under special educational needs register, or someone that is on the path to having a educational healthcare plan. So all these labels link. In a parent pathway, I tend to say individual needs and differences, because each person is unique.
Yeah, so, and I feel that neurodiverse, and obviously there's lots of different disabilities that aren't neurodiverse, don't come under that kind of term or description. But I think that definitely neurodiverse is a step closer to individual, understanding the individual. So, you're kind of putting the onus on that they think differently rather than they have a disability in a way.
Yes. Yeah. So it directs the focus in terms of how they see the world. So neurodiverse individuals may have, for example, ADHD, dyslexia, autism. So it provides an understanding that the way they function is in relation to how they see the world, because then on the other side, people refer to others as neurotypical. So it's that age-old argument of equity and equality. So when seen by the majority, you've got the neurotypical and then you've got the neurodiverse. And also recognizing that as individuals we can see the same thing differently, and what is good about that is that there are learning styles that can work together, rather than being seen separately as requiring a special
educational need.
So with the
also, sorry Brenda, but also I just feel a little bit like, having worked in education, I feel that special educational needs and disabilities, unfortunately, sometimes it becomes, okay, well, that model has suited this child who also displays symptoms of this difference or difficulty, so I can adapt and use this method with the other child, and all the children in the class that have this diagnosis, I can use this way, and it again becomes a bit uniform at times. I don't know what your experience has been.
Yeah, it can be challenging. So, for example, if the choice is for a young person to be in a mainstream setting, so the majority is deemed as neurotypical, so then you've got the neurodiverse. In terms of teachings, there are policies and even the constructs of like the school. So you've got assemblies, you've got classrooms, you've got rules, things that need to be followed. And some of those things come with challenges for an individual that may have like neurodiversity, and approaching their supporting them to engage in things can be done differently. But if there are different ways of doing that, then it becomes more inclusive. So my experience would be that when raising my son, what I found is that it was dependent on the teacher. So you've got some teachers that use a particular learning style, and what you find is it's quite engaging and inclusive to everyone, and that's really their approach. And you'd find, you know, everyone enjoys it, but then
so it's teaching style, isn't it? It's their teaching style.
It's a teaching style, but where it gets difficult is that if a school as a whole has a particular way of doing things, that you may have a particular teacher that has a teaching style that is different, but yet if they have another subject, you know, their style will be different. So then the experience for the young person is up and down. So it's not consistent, and there is an expectation at times to behave in a consistent way.